Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another video. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you will be updated on all my future content. Most importantly, please hit that subscribe button. So this live stream is going to be a brief review of three-digit subtraction with regrouping. Our first example problem is 371 minus 159, and I'm going to go through step by step how to solve that problem. So the first step with any subtraction problem is to check whether or not regrouping is needed. Before we do any subtraction, we want to check and see whether or not we need to regroup. Now with subtraction, we regroup whenever there is a bottom digit that is bigger than the top digit. So looking at this problem, 3 is bigger than 1, so we do not need to regroup in the hundreds place. 7 is bigger than 5, so we do not need to regroup in the tens place. 1 is not bigger than 9. You cannot start with 1 and then take away 9. You would be in negative numbers. So in the ones place, we will need to regroup. So here's how we regroup for subtraction. We regroup by adding 10 to the area that needs regrouping and then taking away 1 to the column to the left. So in this problem, for example, the 7 is going to become a 6. We're going to take away 1. And then that 1 is going to become an 11. Now we just double check, make sure all the top numbers are equal to or bigger than the bottom numbers. It's okay if the numbers are equal or the same, but the top numbers cannot be smaller than the bottom numbers. All right, so 3 is bigger than 1, 6 is bigger than 5, 11 is bigger than 9. We are ready to subtract. 11 minus 9 equals 2. Six minus 5 equals 1. 3 minus 1 equals 2. And we have our final answer. 371 minus 159 equals 212. All right, moving on to the next example problem. I'm Mr. Camilleri, and you are watching the Mr. Camilleri Show YouTube channel. Oh, I decided to make this an 8 because I don't want it to be too similar to the last problem. Yeah, I'm going to make that a... All right. All right, our second example problem is 880 minus 537. So again, step 1, you have to check whether or not regrouping is needed. So 8 is bigger than 5, 8 is bigger than 3, 0 is not bigger than 7. You cannot start out with 0 and take away 7. So again, we need to regroup in the ones place. I always like to regroup from left to right, and then I subtract from right to left. So the 8 becomes a 7, and the 0 becomes a 10. And now we are ready to subtract. It really doesn't matter which step you do first when you're regrouping, whether you take away 1 first or add 10 first, as long as you remember to do both steps. But I always like to do the regrouping from left to right and then the subtraction from right to left. But we are ready to subtract. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Please hit that like button. It really helps the algorithm. 10 minus 7 equals 3. 7 minus 3 equals 4. 8 minus 5 equals 3. And we have our final answer. 880 minus 537 equals 343. Moving on to the next example problem. Again, 880 minus 537 equals 343. Next example. So for the next example, I'll do one where it needs to be regrouped in the tens place. So step one, before we do any subtraction, we check if regrouping is needed. So in this problem, 7's bigger than 2. We're good in the hundreds place. 1 is not bigger than 4. You cannot start with 1 and take away 4, so we will need to regroup in the tens place. 9 is bigger than 3. 1's place is fine. So in this problem, we will need to regroup in just the tens place. So the 7 is going to become a 6, and the 1 is going to become an 11. We are taking a 10 from the hundreds place and adding it to the tens place. And now we are ready to subtract. 9 minus 3 equals 6. 11 minus 4 equals 7. 6 minus 2 equals 4. And we have our final answer. 719 minus 243 equals 476. All right, moving on to what may be perhaps the final problem of the live stream. So we did 2 problems where we regrouped in the ones place. We did 1 problem where we regrouped in the tens place. Now for the final problem, we're going to need to regroup in the ones and the tens place. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So we have 700 minus 285. So again, step 1, before we do any subtraction, we check if regrouping is needed. And it is needed in both the tens and ones place. You cannot start out with 0 and take away 8. You can't start out with 0 and take away 5. So we're going to need to regroup. We're going to take a 10 from the hundreds place, add it to the tens place. Back in the 90s, early 2000s, we would call this borrowing, but it's not really borrowing because we're not giving it back. So the 7 becomes a 6, the 0 becomes a 10. Now in the ones place, we also need to regroup. So that 0 is going to become a 10, and then we're taking away 1 from the tens place. So that 10 is going to become a 9. And now we are ready to subtract. 10 minus 5 equals 5. 10 minus 5 equals 5. 9 minus 8 equals 1. 6 minus 2 equals 4. And we have our final answer. 700 minus 285 equals 415. All right, that concludes my live stream for this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of the video. And if there is an area of math or reading that you're having difficulty with, put that in the comments and I will do a future video on that skill. Until next time, this is Mr. Camilleri signing off.